The problem is that most people watching the fitness industry or being a fan of training actually have the framework for a long and healthy life, but they are holding their health back by this type of mental illness. Welcome to this video about what training actually is. My name is Mixed and I'm a 25 years old, hard-working fitness influencer and entrepreneur. If you want advice from an unconventional fitness channel, subscribe to my channel. I'm focusing on congruent training information and self-improvement, and I'm making content like PADs didn't exist. Like this video to help the YouTube algorithm and so I can develop this channel to more people. This is information and reflections you will get nowhere else in the fitness industry. I'm going to talk about what exercise actually is. What is the primary reason to train for every individual? I'm going to talk about the function of exercise and that it's actually misunderstood by most people. What is wrong in the conception of training for common people? And on the other end of the scale, the fitness industry and the level of obsession and delusion there. I really believe it turns people off and holds people away from training. Everybody has a friend who is not into training, not only lacking a real relationship to training, but neither seeing the value of keeping himself in shape. It's so sad. Unfortunately, the majority of the population can be associated with this. We live in the era of the obesity epidemic, and it's a way bigger crisis up and coming compared to what has been going on in the world since March 2020. If the amount of people putting their health at risk only continues to rise, the medical system will be overblown. The point of this video is to outline that people get turned off by training communities. People find obsessive focus on training goals disgusting. I understand it. I fully understand why. The fitness industry is actually really hardcore. It's for us truly interested. It's for us who are obsessed. But everybody turned off by it misses the opportunities for the health benefits of training. They don't want to get to the gym because going there is a niche. And bodybuilding actually is. I really believe it's going to be that, and I don't believe it will be standardized in the same way as, for example, soccer is here in Norway for certain old boys. Of course, 7 workouts a week, 6 meals a day, and putting in insane amounts of protein is extremity. But going to the gym, lifting weights, activating muscle, and training really hard is only an investment into health. It basically improves testosterone levels, it improves skin health, it improves hair health, it delays aging, it improves reproductive ability. Therefore, lifting weights is real therapy for body and mind. The problem is that it's not what the fitness industry is focusing on. It focuses on how much they need to go up and down in volume, mesocycle to mesocycle, and go from high carb to low carb, yo-yo up and down. And most people obsessed by fitness have at some point considered PADs. Don't be that guy. That's actually not what this video is about. Also, it's the same with every guy into sports. Basketball, American football, soccer. Every boy doing that are only talking about training goals and masculinity. Really obsessive focus, and it scares everybody off by that attitude. It's so sad that everybody forgets the factor of health in this equation. The ideal reality is to actually train to invest into health. Go to the gym consistently 4 to 6 times a week, do cardio, and eat at least 4 meals of unprocessed food every day. The problem is that most people actually doing that are holding themselves back by the training obsessions I'm talking about. Obsessing over the number they can bench press, yo-yoing the body weight up and down, having a diet on and off switch. It's just an awful eating psychology. Not to mention even more serious eating disorders and exclusion dieting. Thinking their way of training is to be all the end all and being narrow-minded on that. The most typical thing is putting their training goals over their physical health. It should actually be the opposite. Training goals is just a way to keep yourself motivated for keeping a healthy lifestyle. The problem is that most people watching the fitness industry or being a fan of training actually have the framework for a long and healthy life, but they are holding their health back by this type of mental illness. Being physically healthy, doing the necessary activity, but ruining their mental health by obsessions. It's the most sad is that people outside fitness watching training associate training with these obsessive and delusional fitness guys. People simply get turned off. Training gets a niche label, and fitness guys like me gets a negative label in the same way as a Hells Angels motorcycle club. Training kind of gets the label as fantasizing masculinity and comparing gains. And of course, training for being lean and healthy undeservedly gets the label as visual narcissism. It's so sad that this is holding people away from the gym, keeping people physically and mentally unhealthy, keeping people obese and depressed. It's so sad, and there's no real middle ground here. At least very few people are trying to create it. And also about the training information that is available for people. The abundance of it is so broad. You don't have a congruent sources to training information. You get contradiction after contradiction. You watch Pumping Iron and you think you need to change exercise from week to week in order to shock it. It's so sad that the bodybuilding community is tricking people to not make gains by these statements. It's also sad to see the information base people look up their information from is so overwhelming. It's like envisioning a sea. You don't know what tribe of fishes you should follow or what you should leverage to make yourself ready for active and healthy habits. I'm making this video to say that exercise is healthcare. Exercise is therapy for the body. It's therapy for the mind. It's activating the body-mind connection. Exercise is reinforcing the body's biological properties. Exercise functions as keeping your mind active. Exercise is reproduction of physical ability. Exercise is drifting the body. A lifestyle of doing resistance training, cardio, eating well, meditating and recovering is management of body, mind, soul. Resistance training is like reinforcing the body frame by drifting joints and bones and basically improving testosterone levels. Cardio is like drifting the heart and the organ systems. Mobility and stretching is keeping the body frame healthy and drifting the joints and bones. Walking and everyday activity is drifting the organs. Meditation is drifting the mind, keeping the mental health in check. The exercise nutrition loop, or maybe I should call it the exercise nutrition cycle, is what we can label the central term what everybody wants to achieve with training, both in terms of biological reproductive properties and mental self-improvement. You need to move your body. This is what every person training for health tries to create, doing specific physical activity for improved physiological and mindful development. Everybody should learn that this is the essence of fitness. The problem with the medical system is that they don't fix the problem from the root. They remove the disease by medicament and pharmacy. After that, the short-term problem is away. But where is the long-term healthcare? Lots of responsibility lies on the training and nutrition branch. The reality is that training and nutrition is the fundament of the medical pyramid. It's the ground wall keeping people away from medical issues. Why don't focus on a healthy lifestyle? Why don't reinforce your physical health when you are constructing and drifting a building? Why don't reinforce it so it don't get destroyed or deformed in the first place? Rather focus on doing a really good construction process. This sounds way more logical than doing the building process halfway and use infinite amounts of resources to repair problems in a shabby building. There is no real middleman in the health system. Nobody to tell you that you need to train for keeping physical health at a good place. Nobody giving you short-term incentives for training and being in shape. In the real world, food is a medicine. Not the average food people are eating, but unprocessed quality food. The society is conditioned for the 8-to-4 system. It's conditioned for mentally demanding jobs for the sole sake of earning money for somebody else. Working for the sole sake of work. It's conditioned for building the life around that. The problem is that people get lazy. People get unpresent. People don't want to train after 10 hours of mentally demanding calculation and programming at an office. People are conditioned for the submission lifestyle for a job. The problem is that they forget their own health. They can't invest in their physical health. They can't invest in their mental health. They are conditioned to claim that they don't have time for training. They are conditioned to scroll down 2 to 3 hours daily on Instagram. They are conditioned to use social situations for instant gratification, not for pushing each other for delayed gratification. The school system is setting people up for this. People learn to do obligations, but they don't learn to learn things so they can use it for their own life. The essence is to informally grind for psychology tests, but they never get to know how to understand the real life psychology. In the same way, you have exercise sessions at the school, but after being at the school for 12 years, you don't get the fundament of keeping yourself in shape and keeping your physical health at a good place. Most people graduating from school don't have the fundament to independently keep themselves in shape, or the life experience of understanding that not training and eating well ruins your physical health. Keep you in shape for your life, both by exercise and nutrition, being in the gym or doing a hard cardio exercise for at least 5 hours a week and 3 or more quality meals of unprocessed food every day. People don't take care of themselves, and 60% of the Norwegian population is obese. The number is 70% in the USA. Likely an even higher percent has a mild depression. The real world problem is the effect that this obesity has on the society, or the bad lifestyle that leads to bad hormones, that triggers calorie surplus, that leads to obesity, which leads to lots of diseases. So many people are physically impaired, and it gives huge effects on the society. With so many people keeping themselves in bad health, it's a huge load on the hospitals. This is a creeping crisis. The reality of is the development of the number of people with physical and mental health issues in this society is continuing like this. The capacity of the hospitals will be overloaded. What will we do with the people who are on the waiting list for medication? And what about the resources we need to use for keeping up mass medication of a population where over 60% are obese? Why don't just use the resources on exercise and food? This figure here describes the domino effect related to social health. It starts from a sedentary lifestyle and bad food and ends with diseases and depression, which actually is an insane load on the medical and psychological system. The middlemen in this situation are just hormones and obesity. Obesity is just a representation of health issues. If you train consistently and have the right habits in your life, you don't need medication. If you just understand the risk and direct effect of not doing physical activity, you don't need to think about hospitals and medication. Your healthcare is your workout. Your fruits and vegetables is the medicine. Your sleep is your blood pressure medication. Then society doesn't need to pay you for sitting on your ass. By that, it's your responsibility to take care of your physical and mental being by exercise and the right food. It's up to you to actually manage to go get the lead out and do your exercise. Get in healthy nutrition to reinforce your body and mind, not healing from diabetes, heart problems, or metabolic syndrome, but make sure they don't get developed in the first place. Reinforce your health on the fundamental level. It's like securing the bottom level of the house by doing the fundamenting and geologic work. Then you don't need to correct mechanical failures on the house later. In the same way, the medication system should be seen from a bottom-up perspective. The problem is that there is generally not a connection between the medical disease and the ground wall. At least you should focus on reinforcing your own health by exercise and food. And the responsibility on most people is way too big. Please help me develop my YouTube channel by giving this video a like. Comment down below. What's your overlying motivation to do exercise? What's your perspective on training and the right food? Subscribe to my channel to get more information and more unconventional reflections about exercise, nutrition, and general human health. Thank you all for watching and see you in the next video.